Hey, college coaches, this is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based here in Austin, Texas. We are focused on using a technology platform to help student athletes successfully transition from high school to college and then to a career once the game is over. Right now, our Spotlight podcast is focused on helping student athletes expand and build their brand by connecting with other athletes during the recruiting process, and more specifically, connecting them with college coaches during this very interesting COVID-19 recruiting cycle that we're in. We've got yet another exciting prospect with us today on the podcast. Avyonne Jones is a class of 22 defensive back from Southlake Carroll High School, one of the storied high school programs here in the state of Texas and in the country. He's 6 foot, 175 pounds, 3.5 GPA, and he's really got a strong ACT score of 25. He's obviously going to be an NCAA qualifier, a big-time player. Avyonne, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Coach. How are you?
Man, I'm really excited to hear more about your story and about your journey here. I've watched your video. I've seen you at different events. I know you're extremely talented, but let's just jump right in. The first thing these college coaches want to know about is your academics. Tell them in your own words about the importance that you put on your academics.
And the biggest thing for me is it's always been so stressed by my family that it's something I kind of take pride in, my athletics, just because I know there's a lot of kids who struggle academically. So it's always been kind of a selling point for me, like a big deal that I always make sure I have my grades on point. So at any point in time, I can pull my grades up and show them and they're going to be presentable and what I want them to be.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Hey, there's a lot of athletes that kind of, and let's be honest, they wish they had a 3.5 GPA. Give those athletes who may watch this recording a piece of advice that you can share that helps you stay on top of your grades.
I feel like the biggest thing is just making sure you're staying in contact with your teachers. Even if you miss an assignment here or there, you can still have a 3.5. You can still do all these things as long as you're on top of everything and building that relationship with your teacher. Your teachers, when they know you care, they want to help you.
Yeah, that is absolutely 100% correct. You mentioned teachers here. Tell us what are some of your favorite subjects in school?
My favorite subject is probably science. I really like learning about things that you just wouldn't know anything else about otherwise. Kind of stuff that's super specific, where like you wouldn't know about anything that has to do with space or molecules or anything like that if you didn't have to take science.
Okay. Take this time now. I'm sure there are some teachers at Southlake Carroll, teachers, counselors, tutors, maybe APs that have helped you along the way. Take this time to shout them out. Who's made learning fun for you at Southlake Carroll?
I for sure have to get a shout out to my math teacher, Coach Tinkle, and my Kim teacher, Miss Bastion.
Awesome. Hey, I know it's early. You're going into your junior year, but do you have an idea of what you might major in when you get to the college level?
I'm not sure. I've been thinking a lot about the major my brother did. He was business finance. I've been thinking about that a lot just because I know it's a difficult major too. I want to be able to like push myself, and I know that it's something that's going to set me up well as soon as I finish college and finish football and go on.
Yeah, big time. Hey, another thing college coaches want to understand is your learning style. Tell these coaches, are you more of a verbal, visual, or hands-on learning style?
Um, Visual for sure. It's so much easier for me to be able to see something than it is to me. Even just having it in my hand is a little bit different than when everything's just laid out. It makes it a lot easier.
Okay. And then obviously, everybody struggles in at least one class over their academic career. Tell these coaches, when you do come across a class that's a little bit harder, are you open to asking for help, or are you just going to try and grind through yourself and get what you get?
No, sir, I definitely have to ask for help, especially the one class that I probably have the most issues with is always going to be my history class, just because everything's so specific to a certain time period. But the biggest thing is I always make sure I go in and talk to my teachers, and there's always tutor hours you can go in. During lunch, you can always go in. So that's the biggest thing.
Okay. I know you're going in your junior year. Have you had a chance to schedule an SAT or an ACT test date yet?
No, so we're actually looking at that right now with everything that's happening with Corona. It's really hard to find testing places, especially in DFW.
Yeah, okay. Hey, let's switch over to learning about you a little bit more personally. I know you work out hard to get ready for the upcoming season, but what do you like to do in your spare time? What kind of hobbies do you have?
I really like tumbling and flipping and stuff like that. That's kind of something I
Really?
got into when I was younger. Yes, sir.
Okay. Like
I
so
play.
active, like backflips and all that kind of stuff, or what?
Yes, sir. We got front flips, back flips, all of it.
Wow. Tell me, so that's interesting. You're the first player that we've had in the podcast that mentioned that. Tell me how that helps you, obviously with flexibility, but tell us how does it help you become a better football player?
I think the biggest thing is the body control. I
Yeah.
mean, there's never a situation on a football field where I really feel out of control just because whenever going backwards seems real easy whenever you're constantly upside down and twisting and it makes the whole everything it just you always know where you're at on the field.
Okay, that's good stuff. Tell us, are you a video game guy? Do you play Madden or 2K or Call of Duty or anything or no?
I play Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty with my cousins all the time.
Okay. Obvious
So
question: are you giving L's or are you taking L's?
giving L's. I can't take no L's.
Okay, I hear you on that. For these coaches who may be new to you, AJ, tell them what social media apps you use. Which are you a Twitter guy, Instagram? How can they better connect with you in your development?
Twitter, I'm very active on my Twitter. I try to post as much as I can, and I'm always checking my DMs and everything in Twitter. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. And then tell us music taste. Who are some of your favorite artists? What kind of music you like listen to when you're working out?
My favorite artist has to be either J. Cole or Juice WRLD. I'm not really sure which one. It was J. Cole for a long time, but Juice WRLD's grown on me over time. I really like listening to when I'm working out. Uh, Jay-Z, Drake, Kanye. Those are probably
Okay,
the ones I listen to most when I'm working out. Yes, sir.
okay. What about things like do you hunt? Do you fish? You like being out in the water? Anything like that?
Yes, sir. My mom's side of the family lives out in the country, so I like to go out there, especially during off season, to go out there and hunt and fish with my cousins.
Okay, good stuff. Tell us when is your I talk my dream scenario question. Let's say you have 4 great years in college and you find yourself in New York City for the NFL draft. Who is sitting at your table waiting for the commissioner to call your name?
My mom, my dad, my brother, and Clay Mack. He has to be
Okay.
there.
All right. I know the work that Clay Mack does. It's a tremendous job, not just working with DBs and athletes up in Dallas area, but teaching about life after football. Tell us about your relationship with Clay.
He's a huge mentor for me. He's always reminding me to make sure I'm staying on top of everything, just to take all the extra stuff out of football so I can just go and play.
Okay. Obviously, we've been locked in with COVID-19 the last 6 months roughly. Do you have a favorite author or book or actor or actress?
Um, I'm not sure. I read what would I read? Oh, I read The Hobbit for the first time over
Okay.
COVID. So I really enjoyed that. Besides that, I don't know if I'd say I have a favorite author. I haven't read enough of any one author's books to say I have a favorite yet.
Okay. I'm sure we've all been binge watching on Netflix. What's the best show or movie that you last saw on Netflix?
Ooh, best movie. Old Guard, I believe, is it
Okay.
Old or Royal? I'm not sure. It just came out like a couple months ago.
Okay. Good stuff. And then tell us, what are you doing to give back in your community up in the Southlake Carroll area? Are you involved in church? Are you involved with nonprofits? What are you doing to give back?
I was actually involved with YMSL, but unfortunately, my mom she moved to Houston, so I'm not doing that anymore. But we have like off-season teams for football, and we often go and we'll help people move. There's always big events where we can go and like help the kids. We'll like show up to the elementary schools and stuff and go and like talk to the kids and read for them for their class, and we do all of that.
That's good stuff. You mentioned your mom. Tell us about your family. Tell us about your mom and dad and what they do. And are you an only child? You're the oldest? You're the baby? Give us a little bit about your background.
I'm the youngest. I have an older sister who played basketball at UMKC. I have an older brother who played football at Texas Tech, and my mom works for BP, and my dad, he's a insurance agent.
Okay. Tell us
So
outside of your family, who besides Clay has had a positive impact in your life?
outside I think I just have to say most of my coaches, I haven't really, all of my coaches have been so, especially at Southlake, they're all so big into making sure that you're involved in the community and keeping up with your academics and Coach Mickens, especially, he's not a coach at Southlake, but RJ Mickens, dad, he was a super positive influence on me. He taught me how to really just sit down and learn football.
Yeah, Ray's a good friend of mine. I know he does tremendous work up there also. Also, tell us a little bit about your relationship with your position coaches and your head coach at Southlake Carroll. I know Coach Riley Dodge, him and my son actually committed to Texas at the same day back in the day, and he's done a tremendous job building that program. But college coaches want to understand about your relationship with your high school guys. Tell us about your relationship with your position coach and Coach Dodge.
Man, my position coach, his name's Coach Drake. He's the best. He's been at Southlake for longer than anyone. I think he has 7 out of 8 rings that Southlake has had. He's been there for, and I mean he's the best. He's always at the field house. Anytime we want to go up, we can talk to him. We can talk to him about anything, and he's always willing to listen to the players about different things, and it's nice. And then Coach Dodge, I mean, he's one of the best at what he does. Our offense is phenomenal. He puts them together and he keeps the team together. He does a good job of finding that middle ground between not interrupting the team but making sure we're all together at all times.
Yeah, that's very accurate. He does a tremendous job in that program. Hey, let's switch over to learning more about your recruiting here, which is starting to take off here. First, obviously, still dealing with COVID-19. What have you been doing to stay in shape for the upcoming season?
As soon as we find out that COVID was going to happen, everything got shut down. We have a Vertimax here and a lateral X machine. And we went and got a rack and weights. So we've been doing that, and then I had a personal track coach that I was with. So even with COVID, I was still able to go run. I was running 3 times a week with him, and then lifting 3 times a week.
Okay. As the father and coach of an NFL defensive back, tell me about your mentality as being a DB. How do you handle the highs and lows of being a defensive back? They say you have to have a short memory. I always talk about that with my son. Tell us how you handle that as a defensive back.
I feel like the biggest thing is you just gotta always be ready for the next play, because no matter how you can have a great game all game, but if you get one ball caught, everyone's gonna see that. And I feel like you can't let those little things bother you whenever you're playing. As a corner, especially, you're always one-on-one all the time. That's your job. And so every once in a while, stuff's going to happen, but you got to remember that your coaches and your teammates are relying on you to be able to just pick it up and just keep going.
Good stuff. Hey, Avyonne, you already have good size. You're already 6 foot 175 going into your junior year. Based on your family, what do you think your height and weight will be by the time you graduate from Southlake Carroll in 2 years?
My dad's 6'2", my older brother's 6'1", and my growth plates are still open. We saw recently. I'm hoping to be around 6'1", anywhere from 190, 195 by the time I graduate.
That's tremendous size. Tell us, there's a lot of really good DBs in class 22. Tell these coaches, how do you differentiate yourself from the other really good DBs in this class?
I feel like I differentiate myself not only just with football IQ, because that's always something I've worked on, especially working with Coach Mickens from as young as I have been. I mean, going into the 8th grade, working with him weekly, and then my skill set, I've been working with Clay since I was going into the 5th grade 3 times a week. So I feel like that's where I get my edge.
That's good stuff. How would you grade yourself? I'm going to give you a couple of skills that a DB must have. Give me a grade 0 to 10, 10 being the best. How would you grade your stance?
10. Clay Mack approved.
Okay, I like it. How would you grade your footwork? I think I know what this is going to be, but how would you grade your footwork?
Got to be a 10. I can't give myself anything other than a 10 working with Clay.
Okay. What about using your hands and rerouting receivers and coverage?
That's all we work at Southlake. Every day we work sitting there. Our coach's biggest thing is making sure we get hands on. I feel like I could still get better at it. I'll give myself an 8 out of 10 there.
Okay. What about your hips? What about hip fluidity?
10. I got to. Clay been working us too much.
All right. What about your eyes? Reading route progression, not getting stuck in the backfield so you're at the quarterback. How would you rate your eyes and your eye progression?
If you would asked me that same question a couple years ago, I would have told you about it too. But we've been it was my biggest weakness back then. But as soon as I told Clay and Coach Mickens, every time I go there, we work on it. And so I mean I haven't been caught in the backfield all year yet. So I'm gonna give myself a 9 there.
Okay. And what about your ball skills?
10. I trust myself. I trust myself in a jump ball with anyone.
Okay. And then lastly, what about mental preparation, mental toughness?
10. I've never had a situation where it's one of the biggest things I pride myself on is I've never had a situation where I've ever broke down, and that's something that I feel like is super important, especially as a DB.
Okay. I think those are very fair grades based on your film and based on what I know about you. I think that's all fair. Hey, tell us, when did you start playing football? What age did you start playing football? But when did you fall in love with playing the game of football?
I've been playing football for as long as I can remember, watching my brother. I think I fell in love for the transition whenever I saw my brother go to college and right when I was going, probably there was about 2, 3 years there, probably really going into my seventh grade year, whenever I finally got to put on that school uniform. You go and you're sitting there with all your best friends you've been working out with all summer, and you can finally go and play with them. I think that's really when I fell in love.
Avyonne, was there a moment, have you had that moment when you said, yeah, I can play this game at the next level? Was that in middle school? Was it when you were a freshman? Tell us about that moment, what maybe it was in the game.
The first time I think I really realized that moment is I was going into my sophomore year playing with Swoosh. We were at Georgia for the Pylon Nationals, and I was the youngest kid on the team, and I've been thrown in a new position. And on our first day, I had like 3 or 4 PBUs and a pick. And as soon as I realized that playing with those older kids, I was like, I
Yeah,
really think I can. I think I have what it takes to be able to go and play.
that's good stuff. Hey, tell these coaches that when the game is over, whenever that is, whether it's after a 10-year career in the NFL or after college, what do you want your life to look like, both personally and professionally?
Personally, I want to be able to be in the situation I'm in right now with my parents. I want to be able to have my family financially set, whether that's from football or whether that's from a business or whatever. I want my kids to be able to have the same opportunities that my parents gave me.
Okay. And then what about professionally? You talked about science earlier or business finance. I mean, what do you want to run your own company? Do you want to work for a Fortune 500 company? What are you thinking there?
Um, I'm really looking into running my own company. My uncle owns his own insurance company. That's what my dad works for, and I feel like seeing that firsthand since I've been a little kid is really kind of one of those things that if I do have the ability to be able to do, I'd love to try.
Okay. Tell these coaches a big part of being a student athlete, as you know, is overcoming some type of adversity. Tell these coaches about a time in your life, either personally or dealing with football, that you had to overcome some type of adversity.
There was a big point in my time. I was 11, 12-ish, where I had an issue called the thyroid storm. It's whenever all of your thyroid controls all of your testosterone and all of that, and it went completely out of whack. I mean, there's pictures of me at 12, like 145,
Mm,
because my body couldn't process it, wouldn't process any of my food, it wouldn't process anything.
hmm
And then as soon as I was going into my eighth grade year, all of a sudden everything stopped, and it just felt like the greatest feeling in the world. I was finally allowed to go run around. I was allowed to do everything. And then I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that I pushed myself and made myself work whenever all that was going on. And then it made it to where it doesn't feel like it's a job anymore. It made it feel like it was a blessing to be able to go out there and work out after everything was done. It made it feel like it was something I wanted to go do every day.
Something like that happens to a young man at that age, and I'm sure, tell us a little bit about your feeling, but it kind of makes you appreciate the game and life a little bit more when things like that happen. Tell us a little bit about that mindset.
Yes, sir. I mean, there's nothing worse because it would make it to where I would just feel lethargic and exhausted
Hmm
all day. Or then there would be days where I was hyper and then crazy. And it made me respect and appreciate just a daily routine where everything's the same and I can go to school, work out, go to football practice, and come home and just have that routine. Whereas for that 2 year period, everything was day by day, and I never knew it was going to happen. You start to appreciate being able to set your schedule and just go through it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Hey, I know you have a lot of athletes at Southlake Carroll. Tell these coaches about some other teammates of yours that you feel might be getting slept on that they need to look at also beside yourself.
I guess I can't really say Brady Boyd is slept on, but I think he's one of the best receivers I've ever guarded. I mean, you can't ask for much better than him. Defensively, Cinque Williams. I'm sure you probably know Cinque.
Yep.
He's committed to Hawaii. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's probably the one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life, if not the best. Um, Owen Allen, our running back, is really good. He's a big kid. Who else we got? We have a lot of kids, especially on our D line. We have a jack named Travis Keener, who this will be his first year playing on varsity, and he's got the size and he's got the strength. I mean, I think he did 405 for 3 the other day on his squat as a
Oh, wow.
linebacker, and he's a monster. We got a middle linebacker right now named Benicio Porras, who is running all of our front by himself, and I think we got a lot of talent on the team.
Awesome. Hey, tell us a little bit about, you're obviously a good athlete, you got good size. What other sports do you compete in at Southlake Carroll?
I only run track. I run track, do track and field. That's it. Besides football,
Okay. What events do you run in track?
I run all of our relays.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell these college coaches, we love football players that run track. Tell me one thing that in track that makes you a better football player that helps.
I think a big part of it is the relays. There's something about knowing you're running with those same kids that you went through those. You had that workout where everyone was hurt and everyone was going, and then it's finally showtime and you're all out there together. And I feel like there's no situation where you push yourself more than you do
Yeah.
whenever you're running at your full speed, whether it's the 4x1, the 4x2, or sadly the 4x4, where where you just gotta give everything you got the entire time because you can't let your brothers down next to you.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, saving the best for last, the part that coaches want to hear the most. Let's hear about your recruiting experience. Who have you heard from? Who do you want to hear from? Give us a little background about your recruiting going in your junior year.
Yes, sir. Going into my sophomore year, I got an offer from Rutgers whenever Coach Jay Valai and Coach Ash were there. I had a more quiet sophomore year because dead period. Sophomore, you can't talk to anyone. Then I went Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. Emailed my coach. I went on the unofficial visit to both of those campuses, and they're both amazing. Notre Dame's campus is beautiful, and
Yeah. Oh,
Oklahoma
yeah.
State, the environment there was like nothing I'd ever seen. And then I talked to Northwestern because obviously we had to talk about me looking into business finance, and Northwestern reached out
Yeah.
because they're saying they have the best business business course in the United States that has a football
Mm-hmm.
program. So, uh, Oklahoma. I went to camps all summer. I went
Mm-hmm.
to OU, Rice, Houston. I talked to the head coaches of all those schools.
For those
Um,
players that are watching this right now, I'll repeat it again. Because of your GPA and your ACT score, Avyonne 25, that opens up you to even more opportunities. Ivy League, some of the top educational schools that have great football programs. I want to commend you on that because I think a lot of athletes still don't understand. They still think their 40 time is going to open more options. I'm telling you right now, and you can look at this young man right here. Your academics are going to open up recruiting way more than your 40 time or anything else. So kudos to you on that. Tell these coaches also about the selection criteria that you're going to use that will eventually help you select what school you'll commit to. Is it distance from home? Is it the major? Is it the culture? Is it the scheme? Tell us a little bit about that.
Obviously, I want to go where I feel like a scheme, where their defense, I feel like it fits me. But right now, I feel like there's not a specific scheme that I'm set in stone yet. The biggest thing, I want to be able to go somewhere where those coaches feel like family to me. That's such a big deal for me. I mean, it doesn't matter how far they are. If I can go and I feel like I can talk to my coaches about anything, and I feel like they're going to be there. I think that's the biggest thing is just having someone that I can trust and I know is always going to be there.
Okay. A lot of players, I talked to players from Lake Travis and your school and Allen and Westlake. These players are telling me, man, I wish I could go to a school like that. Talk about the pressure that's there at a school where there's a storied history, where losing is not really an option, where they've maybe lost 2 or 3 games in the last 10 years and won state championship. Talk about it's fun, but talk about the pressure of playing every Friday, knowing we're the favorite and we're getting everybody's A game every Friday night. Talk about that experience.
Coach Dodge likes to explain this. He says we got a bullseye on our back every time we step onto the football field. We don't get to bust coverages and we don't get to make mistakes because we're Southlake. We're always the most fundamentally sound football team because we're never going to have more athletes than everyone we play. But we're always going to be the toughest team. We're always going to be the team that's the most fundamentally sound. And we're going to do our job every single play.
I like it. Now, Coach White does a good job of doing that. Hey, as we finish up here, last couple questions, and we'll get you going here. Coaches care about competitive nature. Tell these coaches what drives you as a competitor and why are you so competitive?
What drove me for so long is both my siblings. They both went and played college for free. They got college paid for playing their sports, and now I got to go further than they did. So I just got to go. I want to be able to confidently say I'm the best athlete in my house, and I already think it. So now I just got to prove it.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. It's a good type of pressure. Avyonne, tell these coaches, how do you define leadership and how do you plan on leading going into your junior year?
I define leadership not as – I feel like a big misconception with leading is people feel like you have to always say something directly to someone to be leading. And I feel like a big part of leading is by example. And I do feel like there's a time and place when you can go and say something to your teammates and yell and encourage. But I feel like there's also a point where none of that matters if they don't see you doing what you're saying. They have to see you. You have to be the example. You have to put your head down and work at practice every day, or else whenever you tell them something, it doesn't have any weight if you're not doing the same thing yourself.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's perfect. Hey, let's finish up here. We talked about the elevator pitch in business. Take these last 15 to 30 seconds and tell these coaches in your own words why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program.
I believe I'm going to bring a leader and someone who's always going to keep the morale of the team up. That's my biggest job here at Southlake. I make sure our team's together. You're never going to have to worry about academics. It's something I take pride in. I plan on retaking my ACT soon too, as soon as I can. And you're never going to have to worry about effort. I'm going to compete every snap, no matter what.
That's good stuff. Well, coaches, get to know the name, Avyonne Jones. He's going to be a breakout star here pretty soon. Get on him now. Great academics, comes from a great family. He's got some great people around him getting him ready to play this game to the next level. If you have any questions, you ever need anything, please reach out to me. Continue to be safe, and I'll see you on the sidelines at a game pretty soon, okay?
I'll see you, Coach. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great evening.
You too.
All right.